Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really fascinating. We're looking at the intersection of art history, authenticity, and artificial intelligence.
It's a huge topic.
Yeah.
We're essentially asking if an algorithm, an algorithmic artisan, can truly stand in for a human master.
Right. Can AI genuinely replicate not just the look, but the emotional depth, the soul of a master like Rembrandt or Vermeer or Michelangelo?
And our sources are pretty clear that it's incredibly complex. AI has made these, staggering leaps in mimicry.
Absolutely. The visual copies can fool almost anyone at first glance.
But that's just it, the first glance.
Yeah.
When you talk about replicating true artistic intent, that sort of inner spirit, that's where it gets elusive.
So the mission here is really to figure out the difference between a perfect technical copy and a work that's truly full of human genius.
And human context.
Okay, let's unpack this. And I think we should start by understanding what makes a masterpiece, truly irreplaceable in the first place.
That's the perfect place to start. Because when we talk about irreplaceability, we're talking about so much more than just skill.
It's not just about being good at painting.
Not at all. The research shows that great works are, they're like time capsules. They're imbued with the unique personality, the cultural context, and the emotional state of their creators.
They carry the weight of a human experience.
Exactly. That weight is what we mean by the soul of the artwork.
You can feel it. I mean, you look at Johannes Vermeer, at the girl with a pearl earring, the soft light, the glint on the earring. It's technically breathtaking, yes.
Of course.
But it's that enigmatic expression, right? That little moment of emotional capture that makes it last for centuries. You feel like you've just walked into a room and interrupted a story.
It's all about the intentionality behind it. Or think about Rembrandt's later self-portraits. He wasn't just going for realism anymore.
No, it was much deeper than that.
The dramatic play of light and shadow, the use of that thick textured paint, that impasto, it's almost a record of his own personal struggles, of his aging. The work becomes a psychological document.
Exactly. Or just the sheer scale of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling. You can't look at that without thinking about the years of physical effort, the politics, the religion, and just the relentless drive of the human who created it.
That's the human story that's baked right into the fresco.
Right.
And that really is the core limitation we see in the literature. That unique human experience, the joy, the sorrow, all that complexity, it finds its way into every single brushstroke.
Yeah.
And that human singularity seems impossible to just, code into an algorithm.
Okay, but let me push back on that a little. If a machine creates a technically perfect copy, a painting that is chemically, visually, completely indistinguishable from a real Van Gogh, does the average person looking at it care about the artist's tormented past?
That's a really sharp question.
Isn't the point of art the impact it has on the person standing in front of it?
It is. But you're pivoting the debate from the creator's intent to the viewer's perception. For museums, for the art market, for history itself, the origin is the value.
So the story is part of the package.
The story is everything. That machine-made copy is devoid of character precisely because it lacks the intentional choices and even the accidents that are part of a human's creative process.
Okay, that makes sense. It leads us directly into the technology itself then. If the human touch is the key, let's dive into how the tech actually works and maybe where it falls short.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
So the main engines behind all this are Generative Adversarial Networks, or GANs. I'm sure many of our listeners know the basics, but it's worth a quick refresher on how they try to mimic genius.
Right. They're deep learning algorithms that just consume massive data sets, tens of thousands of images to learn every pattern, every texture.
And the real magic, as the sources explain, is in their creative competition. You have two neural networks, and they're essentially at war with each other.
You have the generator network, which is trying to create the image.
In a specific style it's learned. And then you have the discriminator network. It acts like a very, very skeptical art critic.
Its only job is to tell if the image is real or if it's a fake.
And this process is just relentless. It goes back and forth, and the generator's constantly forced to get better and better until it can finally fool the discriminator.
And that's how they get so accurate.
It's how they achieve that remarkable technical accuracy, yes.
The classic case study for this is the next Rembrandt project.
Oh, absolutely. The AI was trained on, 346 of Rembrandt's actual paintings?
Yeah, and it wasn't just mimicking the paint. It analyzed the 3D depth of his brushstrokes to get the texture just right. The final portrait was stunningly accurate.
It was. It used his compositional rules, his color palette, his famous lighting.
And yet,
It was almost universally criticized for what it lacked. It was technically flawless, but it felt spiritually inert. It had no emotional weight.
The why was missing.
The why was completely missing. It was a superb imitation of aesthetics, but not of genius.
Yeah. So let's just break down that toolkit AI uses for a second. It's like microanalysis. The first thing is brushstroke pattern recognition.
Right, analyzing the unique swirls of a Van Gogh or the really delicate layering that Vermeer used.
Then you have the color palette analysis, where it just dissects and replicates every signature tone.
And finally, composition and layout. It learns how to mimic the balance, the harmony, the spatial arrangement that a master would use.
But even with this incredible toolkit, the sources point out these huge technical shortcomings. And that really proves the human element is still dominant. Let's talk about inconsistency.
This is critical. If a master artist, let's say John Singer Sargent, paints a portrait twice, the results are going to be incredibly consistent in technique and intent.
Even if the details are a bit different.
Exactly. But if you give an AI the same prompt twice, you often get two wildly different results. The algorithm doesn't intend a result, it just produces a statistically probable one.
There's no artistic agency.
None. And another massive hurdle is something the sources call information overload. An AI can just sort of falter when a task is too complex. It needs a human to break it down.
What do you mean?
Well, think about painting a huge, complex historical scene from the Renaissance. A human master is juggling perspective, anatomy, lighting, narrative, all at once.
Right.
An AI often needs a human to guide it step by step. Like, okay, first, paint the figures. Now, calculate the lighting for those figures. Now, add the background texture. It can't hold the whole vision at once.
So the current reality is AI can make something that looks similar, but the subtle nuances, the little imperfections that actually define a style.
And the deep emotional intent behind the strokes.
Those are things the algorithm just can't reproduce on its own.
Not without a human driving the whole process. And this technical inability to reproduce real, consistent intention. Well, that leads us right into the philosophical minefield, the authenticity conundrum.
Yeah, this isn't just an academic debate. This has huge implications for the art market. If AI perfects the mimicry, does it devalue the original? And how do auction houses even authenticate work in the future?
Do you need new standards? Digital signatures, maybe?
Exactly.
We really have to go back to Walter Benjamin's famous essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction.
Ah, the concept of the aura.
The aura. He argued, pretty forcefully, that the value of true art isn't just about how it looks. It's about its unique history, its context, its physical journey through time.
So a painting made by a human has this aura because it has a real story. It was commissioned in a specific year. It was passed down. Maybe it was damaged in a fire. It has a life.
It has a life. The human creator gives the work a unique history that is tied to our reality. An AI-generated painting, no matter how perfect it looks, can't have that historical aura.
Because there's no lived story attached to it.
It has technical specs, but no soul.
But I want to push back on Benjamin just for a second. Isn't the idea of an aura just a little bit sentimental? If a machine can perfectly replicate the aesthetic and emotional impact of a work, why should I, the viewer, care about its physical journey?
That's the modern sort of democratizing argument, right?
Yeah, I mean, some critics say the value of art should just be its ability to make you feel something right here, right now.
And that's a valid perspective. Some sources argue that AI is a tool that breaks down barriers, putting incredible creative power in everyone's hands. In that view, art's value is purely experiential.
Regardless of whether it came from a prompt or a person.
But that view completely undermines the entire economic structure of the art world, where provenance, the story, is everything.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole debate forces us to rethink what originality even means.
It really does.
Yeah.
Are we prioritizing the emotional experience of the viewer or the unique historical journey of the object?
And more practically, how long until authentication involves analyzing paint for, I don't know, traces of human DNA or digital watermarks hidden by the Jan?
Curators would have to become digital forensics experts. And if the tech gets so good that it can simulate the aging of paint, then human agency might be the only thing left to tell the difference.
That's a question that's going to drive art criticism for decades. But our sources suggest that maybe we're too focused on this idea of forgery and replacement.
Yes, the competitive aspect.
When the real potential of this technology might be something else entirely. Maybe it's about augmentation.
Precisely. Instead of AI as a replacement, The more constructive path is to see it as an expansion of human creativity, a collaborator, not a competitor.
And we're already seeing that happen. Artists are using AI not to finish paintings for them, but as this incredibly powerful ideation engine.
It can generate new compositions, help you explore styles you never would have thought of.
Or even create these truly interactive artworks that respond to the viewers in real time.
Imagine an AI-curated exhibition where the lighting and the music adapt based on the audience's emotional feedback. The machine handles all that complex processing,
Freeing up human artists to focus completely on the intent and the emotional core of the work.
It just reinforces the main point. The technology still relies entirely on human input and guidance to be effective. The human touch is still the essential ingredient for creating something meaningful.
So the core theme really holds up. The relationship between AI and art is its augmentation, not replacement.
The machine can mimic the style, the technical skill, but it cannot replicate the emotional depth, the historical context, or that elusive soul that makes a masterpiece timeless.
Art is still a deeply human endeavor. It's a reflection of our experiences, our flaws, our passions. The human spirit is what makes it special.
And as our source material concludes, the greatest masterpieces are always a product of skill and soul.
So we started this deep dive asking if AI could replicate the masters. We looked at Jans and brushstroke analysis, and we've landed on the enduring importance of that unquantifiable human element.
That's right.
So what does this all mean? I guess it means the technology is a mirror. It can reflect skill, but it's not a substitute for agency. It can show us what the masters did, but it can't tell us why.
Which leaves you with one final thought to mull over. Given AI's power to create these stunning, visually perfect facsimiles, what will the next generation define as a masterpiece?
Yeah.
Will it be the perfection of technical skill or the unique imperfection of human intention?
Food for thought indeed. This entire deep dive was powered by the fantastic research and community at Anita Louise Art. We really appreciate their mission to bring art education to the world and inspire creativity.
And to keep exploring these ideas with us and be a part of that community, we invite you to subscribe to the free newsletter. You should check out the insightful articles on the blog and join us for our other podcast, 5 Minutes with Art.
And for great videos and visual content, be sure to subscribe to the Anita Louise Art YouTube channel. You can also check out my artwork for sale on the site. It's all about art that uplifts and inspires. Think hashtag art to make you smile and hashtag art to make you happy.
It's definitely worth a look.
We hope this deep dive has been illuminating, and we'll catch you next time.